Thanks for attending this parallel session, which will focus on defining the activities to be tackled by the network of national representatives for SMEs interested in nature-based solution. This session will start with a presentation of Siobhan McQuaid about nature-based economy, which is a white paper that has been prepared during the last semester, mostly. And then afterwards, we will move on a short introduction regarding the vision related to the network and its relationships. Afterwards, we will ask you to shortly write down who you are and your relationship to this network and what are your perspectives. Here, everything that we are mentioning are related to mural, so we will send you a link about that when the time is up. Afterwards, using the mural, we will look at the problems SMEs interested in nature-based solutions are facing. And this will bring us to look at activities which could be solved, which could solve these issues. We will also prioritize these activities and then inform about what each of us could do to support the realization of these activities. But now, let me first introduce Siobhan McQuaid, who is Associate Director Innovation at Trinity Centre for Social Innovation of the Trinity College of Dublin. She's also the project coordinator of the project Connecting Nature, and also one of the main authors of the white paper on nature-based economy. So now, Siobhan, the floor is yours and the screen.
Thank you, Matthew. I'll start back up here. Okay, let me put that. Is that okay? So Matthew, you're going to have to keep me on time here because I've no visibility of what the time is. But yes, so thank you for inviting me to give a kind of, I suppose, a contextual overview to the discussions here today. And as you've already said, I'm not speaking on behalf of myself, or I'm not speaking for myself alone. I'm speaking on behalf of a working group with representatives from all of these different Horizon 2020 projects and also the LIFE project Artisan. So all of these different experts on the economy and enterprise and innovation and entrepreneurship from these different projects have come together to collaborate on this draft white paper on how do we move from the nature-based solutions to the nature-based economy. And I would say the consultation on this is closing today. We'd hoped to close it at the beginning of September after the IUCN World Congress. Then we kept it open for the UN Habitat Conference last week. And now we've kept it open for today. It has to close today. We have to start analysing the responses. But we've had a great response to date and lots of interesting and varied feedback. So there's the link if you're interested. It would be great to get your feedback, and it's a very much a kind of a, you can either provide a detailed response or you can just tick boxes, so it doesn't take too long. And the report really asks, how do we go? When we talk about nature-based solutions, the European definition puts an emphasis on the way nature-based solutions can contribute to environmental, social and economic benefits. And there's been a lot of focus and a lot of literature on the environmental benefits, increasing awareness of the social benefits, but to date there's not much literature and evidence done, or empirical studies on the economic benefits. So that's what we were kind of looking at. Now, how do we move down? This one here. So one of the questions that we've been asked, and I just put this slide together this morning, but one of the questions we're always asked is, well, where does the nature-based economy kind of fit in with all of these other concepts that are out there, from the nature positive economy the bioeconomy, the circular economy, and so on. So I've tried to kind of show that I think a lot of these concepts are complementary, and I would put them within the overall framing of this nature positive economy. And I think this was a term which the World Economic Forum coined through a report which they produced last year. And they're really trying to position the emphasis on the economies of the future, not just on net zero carbon emissions economies, but also on nature positive economies. And there's going to be a big push, I understand, in COP26 to put nature positivity or nature positive actions on an equal footing with kind of actions to address climate change. So it's really growing in importance. And I think when we see further actions in CBD COP15 on biodiversity next year in China, there will be even more, I suppose, impetus to move towards this nature positive economy. But it's a very wide, if you think of the way climate change embraces so many different elements, so does this nature positive approach. And you can see there some of the targets that they're aiming to have enshrined, from zero loss of nature by starting from the point of zero loss of nature to full recovery by 2050. And I think within this overall framing, you have the nature-based economy, which is very much based on nature-based solutions. And nature-based solutions, as I said at the beginning, not just looking at how nature can be used to address societal challenges and environmental challenges, but how it can create benefits for health, for well-being, and for the economy. And then there's an overlap with the bioeconomy in some fields. And I think what's really interesting is the overlap with the circular economy. And we're going to see some examples of that later on. So just in terms of the overall framing, because there's so many concepts floating around, I thought it might be useful just to kind of show how they're complementary. And if anyone has any feedback on that or would like to further develop it, it's something that is, I think, really much at conceptual stage now. So the big question we asked ourselves in the nature-based economy report is, how can, first of all, the figures below, let me look at the figures below first. So the figure on the left comes from the UN State of Finance for Nature Report 2021. And they identified globally 113 billion currently invested in nature-based solutions globally. That should be 27 billion, not million, from Europe, of which the majority is coming from the public sector. So they called for a tripling or quadrupling of a tripling of investment by 2030 in and a quadrupling by 2050 in order to reach the kind of climate change and nature positive objectives. And that will require this change in investment ratios, but it will also, we think, massively fuel demand for nature-based solutions. And the question we ask then is, if there is this massive investment in nature-based solutions, how can we ensure that that results in jobs and enterprises, sustainable jobs and enterprises in a nature-based economy? So, let me see here. So we have done some research and we've identified within the nature-based economy, which is very closely related to nature-based solutions. So it's the idea is that it works in harmony with nature, planning, growing, harnessing, harvesting, conserving, or restoring natural resources in a sustainable way. And we've identified a number of kind of market sectors and economic activities related to the nature-based economy. Some of these are well known and well established and quite mature, like your green buildings, and others are more developing and emerging, like, for example, your smart tech for nature-based solutions and your nature-based solutions for health and well-being and so on. But what we wanted to look at was, well, how do we increase demand for nature-based solution, in particular among the private sector? So going back to that ratio where you saw 86% of investment in nature-based solutions come from the public sector, we're saying, well, how can we encourage the private sector, in particular businesses, to invest in nature-based solutions? Consumer investment in nature-based solutions is also very important, but that's not a discussion for today. And then on the other side, what we've already started to see, and there's different EC publications that have identified a shortage of suppliers of nature-based solutions to the public sector. So already we're seeing that there isn't enough supply to meet the demand that's already there. So when we increase demand, we always have to increase supply. And sometimes it's a little bit challenging because, of course, if you think from a consumer perspective, we're both consumers of nature and we also have the potential to be suppliers. And it's the same in businesses. Many both consume natural resources and natural products, and others, and they could also potentially develop and supply them. So this is what I want to look at. Matthew asked me to just have a look at some of the drivers of demand. And again, I'm just looking at this really from a business perspective as opposed to a consumer or public perspective. So from a business perspective, we can see in particular, the first two are very much relating to your larger corporates, the kind of work that's happening on the NFRD, the requirement to report on social and environmental activities, practices and impacts. And also the recent, in terms of financing, the EU taxonomy on sustainable investment and the parallel work on a global scale on this TFND framework for basically channeling investments towards sustainable activities. So I think these are certainly, in terms of investment and reporting, they're driving demand. A big one is also reputation. And I think there's both increased public awareness of the benefits of nature and the importance of conserving nature and biodiversity, and their awareness of environmental practice as within corporates and negative environmental practices. This also extends, of course, to employees, because in particular in the knowledge economy, employees can pick and choose who they want to work for. And they're increasingly, young people are increasingly wanting to work for companies with good reputations environmentally and overall in terms of sustainable practices. We have a lot of evidence of CSR, in particular in smaller businesses, very much connected with their communities. But it's more than CSR. There's increasing evidence that green cells, and I'm going to present a case study from Austria, but they've showed that their green certified buildings can achieve sales 8 to 10% more than their equivalent without that green building certification. So there's strong commercial evidence to support evidence or move in this direction. And deliberately, I've put this one last, the increasing pressure to reduce carbon. So yes, the economy in general, as well as businesses, are aware of these catchphrases about moving to net zero carbon emissions. But I would caution very much against positioning nature as a solution to offset carbon. Very much the focus should be on reducing carbon emissions, and only if the carbon emissions can't be reduced, then of course nature has a very important role in terms of carbon offsetting, sequestration and mitigation. But I think the focus should be more on this nature positive approach, looking at how nature can contribute to biodiversity and investing in the reduction of use of natural resources and so on. So the barriers to take up are summarized under a number of kind of key headings. First of all, lack of awareness. I think if you were go out to your average business in your local town and ask them what a nature-based solution is, you'll get a very funny look. So there's a lack of awareness out there, growing maybe among the larger corporates, but among your smaller SMEs in particular, not very high. Even where they have awareness, there's a lack of knowledge and skills. So there's a lack of knowledge about what are nature-based solutions. They're complex. They require co-production with local communities, a very inclusive approach, if they're done right, to developing and implementing nature-based solutions. And this requires a skill set which is often not in your average business. A big one is credibility, a fear of greenwashing. And I think that is increasing the perception of risk of investment in nature-based solutions versus the, I suppose, more established approaches to addressing environmental issues through, for example, reducing energy emissions and so on. So this preference to focus on the more established low-hanging fruit. And then there's a lack of regulation and incentives specifically focused on the uptake of nature-based solutions by businesses. So that's just a whistle-stop tour of some of the drivers and barriers on the demand side for nature-based solutions. And now I just want to look at the supply side, which is really where Trinity has been focusing our research. So recognizing that there's this very little is known about who supplies nature-based solutions in the private sector. We did a survey last year, and we identified these different kind of activities where nature-based enterprises were operational. And what we've done as well in Connecting Nature is we've set up a platform to connect these enterprises together internationally. And these communities have been set up in all of the different sectors. And they're effectively led by industry ambassadors. And the idea is to increase awareness, but also awareness of good standards and good practice in these sectors, because that's a concern. A growing concern, I should say, and there's a increasing need for quality standards to provide reassurance to end users as well. So this platform connects buyers and sellers internationally. So you'd be glad to hear, I'm not going to go into this diagram. We have a new paper which is coming out very soon, hopefully it's peer reviewed at the moment, and it looked at the key factors which influence nature-based enterprises. So we used Pastel, which is pretty well known, and we looked at barriers and enablers influencing nature-based enterprise growth and development. And I'll send you or Matthew will send you the link to the paper when it's out, but I've just picked out a couple of them here, which are probably most important. So one of them is market demand for NBS. So because nature-based enterprises essentially deliver nature-based solutions to the public and private sector, the demand for nature-based solutions in effect affects the demand for their products and services. And some of the key factors influencing demand for nature-based solutions are the political and regulatory factors. So that while there's a really good awareness of NBS levels high up at policy level, there's a lot less knowledge at operational levels, and it tends to be siloed within environmental departments and not as well known across economic policymakers, for example, or in health departments and so on. There are sometimes conflicting policies and regulations, both enabling and limiting nature-based solutions uptake. On the other side, the economic instruments such as subsidies or fees were shown to have a very positive impact on market development, and in particular influencing private sector investment in nature-based solutions. One of the other factors that I just wanted to look at was the financing of nature-based enterprises, because some of the results were quite interesting there. What we did in this study was we compared nature-based enterprises with other types of sustainability oriented SMEs. So they could be in the circular economy, for example, or in clean tech or whatever. And we saw that in a number of other types of sustainability oriented SMEs, there was a high dependence on public sector grant or concessional funding. Whereas in contrast with nature-based enterprises, most reported as self-financed through commercial contracts, and most of them were either for-profit or hybrid, and they weren't reliant on concessional financing. In fact, they had a strong preference for private sector contracts than public sector. However, where they did have an overlap with these other types of sustainability-oriented SMEs was in terms of a lack of understanding of financial instruments. And therefore a fear, I suppose, or a reduced rate of uptake. And this was also driven by a concern over a potential lack of mission alignment with investor and institutional interests. So it's not a case that they didn't want to take up impact investment to grow. It's that they felt that their impact criteria were driven by environmental impact. That's how they measured success. So environmental impact first, job growth and revenue growth second. So it's such a pity, because they're really interested in achieving environmental impact, and through scaling, they have great potential to both achieve environmental impact and achieve economic impacts. But there's just this kind of wariness out there which needs to be addressed. And the other one is this also lack of alignment also they identified extended to business supports, which again they perceived were more focused on conventional economic impact indicators rather than environmental or social impact indicators. So I think it really throws it out for discussion today on how to flip that order of priority given our transition towards the sustainable economy of the future. The key enabler they identified was networking within the sector. Okay, so that's really it for me. I'm going to conclude with a case study if I have time. Do I have time, Matthew?
Yes, some seconds, yeah. You have
some seconds, okay. So this is, I picked Austria and I picked the sector of green buildings, which is a fairly mature sector. So Leonore Gewessler, who's the Minister for a lot of things, including climate action and environment, she talked about why they were investing and seeing the potential in this sector. And it's firstly to make cities climate neutral and more livable. But then from an economic perspective, they've identified that currently 1 in every 10 flat roofs, or 10% of roofs, are built as a green roof. And for every percentage of green roofs, 10 new jobs are created. So their objective is, or they've identified that if they increase that to 50%, from 10 to 50% by 2030, they will create more than 33,000 jobs in this sector. And they've identified that in order for that to happen, they need to work closely with their colleagues in other departments and also with other sectors, including energy and construction. And one of the things they've done is set up this Grundstachgrau, which is an innovation center, a center of excellence, I suppose, in green buildings. And Suzanne Formanek has provided lots of advice and input to us in our green economy report. And what they have identified, they've mapped out their sector, and there's currently 550 companies and a whole range of activities. And with, as the Minister pointed out, lots of potential to grow. But I thought what was interesting is the link with other sectors and other innovations. So, for example, solar green roofs, the cooling effect of the plants boosts the performance of photovoltaics. And, you know, there's also this link with the purification of grey and service water on roofs through nature-based solutions. So there's this interesting overlap with other sectors and opportunities for innovation. What they do in terms of industry support, because I know you're looking at potential solutions, is they take a very holistic approach. So on one hand, they address head-on these issues and challenges around greenwashing by introducing a quality assurance scheme. So the certified products, systems, and also the companies delivering these products and systems. And they have quality marks and so on. And then what they do is they provide support to end users. So they help them work out cost benefit ratios, provide information on standards, provide direction to grants, subsidies, etc. And they have this mobile exhibition space where they go out and proactively encourage citizens and businesses to come in and visualize what it would look like. And finally, and very importantly, and very similar to the Connecting Nature Enterprise platform, but at a national scale, they have this mechanism to connect supply and demand. So you can book a certified green buildings expert through their website, and that provides, I suppose, the end users with this assurance they're getting a quality service. So that's just an example of some of the measures that have both the targets and the support measures put in place in Austria. That's it for me. There's a load of reading out at the moment, and there's increasing momentum in this area. Some of it, this is the World Economic Forum, where the kind of report which came out last year, which coined the term nature positive economy. Then you have more sectoral, this is the report from Austria. Then again, you have the Disruptor report, which is probably the most significant one. We've our own draft white paper, which will lead to an EC expert publication. And just out this morning, I saw a Rewilding and the Rural Economy, a report coming out from Rewilding Britain. So there's a ton of, I think there's a lot of momentum growing in this area. I've just named some of the organizations. So glad I put in business and biodiversity, Jane. So lots of organizations and momentum growing in this area. So I'm really happy to be part of the discussion here today to see how we take it to the next step. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Siobhan, for this broad and introduction to our subject. So in the meantime, you should have received a link on the chat from Fernando related to the mural that where I would like to invite all of you to join us, because we will move on to this mural. So the link is in the chat. You just have to click on it, and then you just have to write down your name, and you will join us on the mural. If you have any trouble, difficulties, please just tell me, since now we are moving to this part. So there are 17 persons online. I think we are 21, so a few from you are missing, I suppose.
You just need to join as a visitor. You don't need to register or give any email, just to let you know.
So 20 users. Okay, I think we are almost all there. I will ask you there in the mural to look for the little turtle because that's me, and then to click on it, and to click on. There will be a little box where it is written you are following Mathieu Grosjean, and then you just have to click following. Is it clear? I'm not sure. Please. So you look for the turtle on the back of the screen. The little turtle. Normally, it should be one of the first animals to be presented. Then you click on the turtle and click on following. Normally, now everybody should see exactly what I'm looking at. That's the interest of clicking on the turtle. Some difficulties, questions? I'm here to answer. We're here
turtle looks like I cannot see it.
The turtle is how do you say brown, or yeah, brown, and it's in a brown round, and with
I see it now.
With black lines in order to draw the turtle. You need to click on the little arrows where you can look for the different persons and what they are looking at. I think there are more and more looking at my screen.
We could also share the screen in the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, that's also the possibility. Yeah. Would you like to do that, Roder?
Yeah, I will do it.
Perfect. Okay. So there are 8 people following me at the moment. So there are a few more needing to join. So here now I need to confess it will be I think it will be very challenging. We have just 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we have something like 5 or 6 activities to do. First of all, let me just introduce very shortly NetworkNature, and afterwards the vision we have related to the network of national representatives for SMEs interested in nature-based solutions. So most of you probably followed the event this morning, and others maybe just joined, but some others are knowing very well NetworkNature. So I will be very brief. I will make a very short introduction or very short summary of NetworkNature. So NetworkNature is a coordination support action, H2020 project, which goal is to support the spread of nature-based solutions in Europe and beyond, while gathering and supporting the activities of all H2020 and Horizon Europe nature-based solution projects. This would be very, very short. If you want to look for, or if you want some more information about NetworkNature, please do not hesitate to look at it on the net. There we have a nice platform, the NetworkNature platform, where you will get a lot of information. But most of you have already received some links about that, so I think I don't need to stay on this. Following the goal that I mentioned of NetworkNature, and considering some existing gaps in the support to companies, we decided to focus on SMEs and to create a network to support these ones which are interested in nature-based solutions. The idea for this network is to benefit from a strong relationship with other networks. You can see here, I mentioned NetworkNature, of course, connecting nature that Siobhan mentioned, with the very nice platform connecting several nature-based enterprises which are developing or looking at nature-based solutions. I mentioned also biodiversity and businesses with whom we are in touch and trying to bring this network to be very aligned with their thoughts and also to benefit from their activities. And yeah, so that's, and Entrepreneurs Europe Network. Because in fact, the idea is not that we reinvent the wheel, but it is more to use all the already existing activities or supports and to bring them to potential SMEs interested in nature-based solutions. That's the very heart of the network. This network should be composed of organizations specialized in supporting SMEs and desiring to make extra activities, especially for supporting SMEs interested in nature-based solutions. So that's very important. That's the focus of the stakeholders of this network. And this network should provide support thanks to capacity building, networking, matchmaking, financing, matchmaking activities, and financing and funding advices, and but also some recommendations or some support towards policymakers, which are in relationship with the barriers, the difficulties that the SMEs are facing. So I think now it is time to let you express yourself by looking or by selecting a post-it, and up, I will bring you to the next activity, which is on the right here. So the idea is that you select a color of a post-it color, and there you write down which organization you are member of or you are part of, which is your position, your name, and what is your interest for this network of national representative interested in nature-based solutions. Here you can see two examples, which gives us the possibility to present ourselves. First of all, I want to present you Fernando Barrientos, who is a senior consultant at Steinbach Europa Centrum. He is responsible for the notes, for the minutes of this meeting. And myself, Mathieu Grosjean, I'm product manager at Steinbach Europa Centrum, and both of us are working on the creation of this network for some months now, and yes, this is where we are at the kickoff meeting and looking at who are the different persons participating to this kickoff meeting, and what are the different interests you have for this network. Try to take a color which is already here, but if you don't have, it's okay. Just bring another one. So I see Mark. Hello, Mark, from the National Organization or Support for Enterprises in Ireland, which is also a national contact point. I see also Jiri Erinek, National Cluster Association. I'm waiting for for Jerry to add. Yeah, exactly. Interesting opportunities for our members. Yes. We see LGI, sorry, in English, with Lamia, and we are still waiting for you adding your interest for the network. We have also Mario Balzan, which is member of EcoStack Innovations. Its interest is developing collaborations. We see also Jane Fillet from Biodiversity and Businesses, the platform who is public policy analyst and is interested in engaging SMEs on biodiversity, creating synergies between the networks, and link nature-based solutions on biodiversity. We see also Gemma Simpson, who is consultant at OPLA, looking for synergies and difference in different sectors and different sectors engagement. We see Alexander Filipovsky at the Foundation for Management and Industrial Research, who is innovation advisor, who is interested in networking and knowledge sharing. We see also Andrea Görtler and Nicolas Tenzer, Konstantin Wegener from the German Development Cooperation, working on nature-based solutions and nature-based enterprises in the development cooperation context, learning from and cooperating with EU-level research networks and so on. Then we have also Carolina Garcia, who is a researcher and consultant in Technalia, who is also interested in transfer research results. Okay, I don't need to introduce Shoban, it has already been done. There are some few people who haven't expressed themselves. You have still a little bit of time, don't worry, but we will move to the next. So of course, if you want to stop watching my screen on the mural, you just have the possibility to click on release on the same place where you have the information that you are following my screen. I will move to the next, which is related to a study or a survey that we prepared before starting or while starting the network. Here you can see the idea of this survey was to look at the difficulties or problems which are that different companies or the companies are facing. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky because you can click on a scheme and it can move if you drag it. So be a bit careful. So yes, the idea of this survey was to look at the difficulties and the activities SMEs would or organization for companies are facing or would need to be supported by. Here we see the different organizations that which took part to this survey. We had 35.71 SMEs. Percent of SMEs, sorry, some NGOs for 14%, public authorities for 21%, university and school for 7%, and others. Afterwards, I move on to the next. Sorry, I move to the next question, which is the sector they are from. And here you see we have a very, very broad sector of many different, very spread organizations. So it's not on from one sector, it's really from a lot of different. Then one of the first question was, did your organization evaluate its dependency or impact on nature, cost benefit from nature, and the risk opportunities nature represent for its business? And here you see the different percentage, which is showing us how much these organizations that we ask are involved with nature-based solutions. And then afterwards, the question, is your organization planning to engage with nature-based solutions? We see that there are some which are engaged immediately, which are looking for working on it on the following months. Some others are more interested to work on it on a later stage in the following years, and then not yet engaged, but interested in, so for probably much longer term. Okay, so that was a short presentation before we move on to the next part, which is the activity 3, which is on the left corner on the back. Here we see the idea is to go for which problem should be tackled by the network. You see here the different problems that have been selected by the different organizations that answered this survey. They are almost, I would say, prioritized already. I would invite you to look at these different problems, read it, and then so I will read it loud, and then afterwards, if you consider that there are some others which needs to be tackled, I will invite you to add some post-its, whatever the color can be. It can be really whatever color it is. It should not be compulsorily related to the color that you selected for describing your organization. So what are the problems faced? So skills and competencies in the organization, public funding for nature-based solution projects, lack of knowledge, recognition, and or support by the society, resources for developing new or improving existing products or solutions, cooperation with partners to implement nature-based solution projects, availability of technical equipment on primary products, and building codes and urban planning provisions. So that's the problems that have been mentioned, but these mentioned or selected by these different organizations that answered this survey. And now the floor is yours in a way to add your post-its, and afterwards potentially to present it. From senior management. Yeah. Lack of buy-in from senior management. Find a real business opportunity for companies by using nature-based solution. I'm looking at potential other. Yes, some other post-its are coming in. Okay, thank you. I see some other blocks, some other post-its. Sustainability fatigue, climate biodiversity, CSR, NBS. I would ask the person who wrote this post-it to present it. Or to...
Yeah, that's me. So I'm Jana from the European Business and Biodiversity Platform. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me and thanks for the very interesting presentation of the white paper and setting up this call. So just like a few words on this, what we noted, we also conducted a survey with SMEs to kind of gather their feedback on what are the main challenges and the main needs. And we really focus on supporting SMEs and encouraging them to integrate biodiversity into their decision-making and economic business models. But then what we noticed that they're being targeted from so many sides, and every time we're asking them to do something. So first of all, we're asking them to reduce their emissions, then we're asking them to integrate biodiversity and natural capital into their decision making. Now we're going to ask them to invest in nature-based solutions. So there is like a sort of fatigue that it feels that they're always having to add an additional layer on top of it. And they're already focusing, especially now recovering from the COVID pandemic, and they need to focus on other stuff than on saving our natural planet. So one of the solutions, maybe that's for the next part, that we identified is to link all of these issues and really create one holistic view and one story that you say like, okay, the climate crisis cannot be tackled without tackling the nature, like biodiversity crisis, including integrating nature-based solutions. So I hope this kind of explains why I thought it would be interesting to discuss this, or whether you guys have views on this. Do you have experienced the same?
Thank you very much, Shane. Then I see some other post-it. So developing resources and collaboration to support policymakers and other businesses with nature-based solution planning. Lack of procurement opportunities for SMEs. Big companies scope all. Yeah. Find a real business opportunity for, yes, that's already said. Lack of, yes, prioritization of nature-based solution next to other projects. Yeah. Defining a clear role, contribution, benefits on business models for nature-based enterprises to contribute to citywide nature-based solution. Absence of clear business model, lack of understanding of the business case of nature-based solutions. Yeah, I think we can bring them together. They are very near. Lack of guidelines to for industry to follow. Okay. Now the game would be to try to bring these new post-its near to the one that are already existing in order to have some grouping. Yeah, I think here maybe we can group that this lack of procurement with public funding. There is a very small post-it I can't even read. It would be good to, yeah, perfect. Concept bioeconomy, circular economy, yes. Okay, perfect. I suppose that everybody who wanted to add a problem did it, or am I wrong? Nobody is writing anything. Ah, there is another one coming. Yeah, public funding. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think that's something we can, connect exactly. Perfect. Perfect. If someone wants to present his or her post-it, could be of interest. If you want to add a few elements to what has been written, please do not hesitate. So it seems that you are a very quiet group. Nobody wants to take the floor. Okay. I think that now it's a bit quieter here at the problems on the problem side. So if nobody wants to present the post-it that he has been writing or that he wrote, to add some compliments or additional information.
Yeah, I don't. So this is Jana again. I don't want to call anyone out, but I was just wondering, interesting, that yellow posted on finding a real business opportunity for companies by using nature-based solutions. If that person feels comfortable enough to kind of elaborate on this, is that a challenge because they don't know how to present it to their future customers? Is this a challenge because they don't see the profitability of integrating that or like having that solution? That would just be useful to know.
I agree. Thank you very much, Jane. I don't know who is the responsible for this post-it, so I can't say namely. But if it was possible, it would be very interesting to have some additional information about it.
Hello, everybody. Yuri Herinek from NCA Czech Republic speaking. If we talk about the post-it find a real business opportunity for companies, I think the very huge problem in the Czech Republic is that our companies are not able to see why try to use something from circular economy or NBS and so on, because they do not see any advantages and possible income into the company by using this new approach. So this is the reason I think it's a part of the problem.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. Yeah, now I think we can understand a little bit better what you wanted to mention by this point. Yeah, actually, the question when we are speaking about this network, we are trying to focus on companies which are interested in nature-based solutions, or to make companies more interested in this. And the point is, of course, for some companies, as the one that mentioned Shoban, some of these companies are already engaged developing some nature-based solution and trying to sell these different nature-based solutions. So that's what we call mainly the nature-based enterprises. In the case of our of the network, we are not focusing only on the nature-based solution or on the companies who are developing or supplying nature-based solutions. We are also looking at the other enterprises which would look or could be interested in looking at nature-based solutions and their potential for their company, and in which form these nature-based solutions or biodiversity could be of interest for them. And that's of course, we cannot answer this point now so easily and make a very large or a very specific answer for any companies, because there are thousands of different companies, thousands of different business models, and each company and each business model has to be taken into consideration and look at it in order to know in which in what the nature-based solutions could be of interest for these or biodiversity. There are many different works that have been developed by the different EU projects, namely related to the valuation or the impact of nature, or the importance of nature for the business of several companies. At the moment, the companies which are tackled or which are focused on are large companies, and here that's the reason for working on this of this network, is to look and reuse the thoughts or the developments which have been made by other organization or by other networks, and look how these development can be of interest for the SMEs. But yeah, that's one. I think it's one of the very important points that this network has to tackle, is what are the interests and what are the messages which could bring an SME to interest itself for nature-based solutions. Okay, thank you very much for these for these post-its. Now that we have defined the different, Shoban, you have something to say?
Yeah, sorry, just on that last point, I think it's a very important and it's a very valid point. Companies are looking for nature-based solutions, and as Jana said, there's so many other things they could invest in. It's difficult to kind of work out a cost-benefit kind of analysis. So this is why I presented, I thought was very important service that Grau offered in the case of green buildings for businesses and consumers, that their first step is doing this cost-benefit analysis. And I think that's a really important kind of support tool, which will help to, help people make decisions. So we should be looking at that exists in the green business or the green building sector, because that's a mature sector. But we should be looking at replicating that across other sectors to see why a company should invest, and to be able to make the business case, as you quite rightly point out, for why they should invest in this, or how they could invest. And I completely agree with what you said earlier, Jana, about integrating a holistic approach. Many of the measures that could be, you can double up between circular economy, bioeconomy, nature-based solutions approaches. So let's work together to integrate some of these, and make a cost-benefit analysis for them on an integrated basis as opposed to on an individual basis. I'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Rowan. Now that we looked at the problems, I suggest now that we move on to the solutions, which are related to the next part of the exercise, or of the session. Here it's the point number 4, just on the right of the problems, which is quite logical in a way. And here you see some of the solutions that have been selected or defined during the survey. So we have here advising and supportive contact point for organization interested in nature-based solution, evidence for valuing benefits, information source on nature-based solutions regulation, training programs for organization implementing nature-based solution, learning from best practice cases, recognition by public authorities, business incubator programs, higher funding rates or incentives, and nature-based solution friendly revision of legislation and regulations. I invite you now to take your post-its or create your new post-its and to add your post-its to this part. And afterwards, we will look how some of the solutions are related to the different problems that we mentioned just before. So I let you work on it. So here we have already some inputs, database of case studies, developing standards and impact measurement approaches to increase credibility. On other networks, okay. Network sharing challenge and solutions. Networking sharing, sorry, challenges and solutions. Here we have a case in Malaga, Spain. We have got two best practices we could share over the network, a private public nature-based solution cluster with IUCN Mediterranean, and an NB incubator, H2020 Connecting Nature. Yeah. Also accelerator program in Glasgow and Cyprus. Connecting Nature, yeah. Below we have awareness raising about the economic, environmental, social benefits seems to be crucial as there is a lack of understanding. Subsidies, other policy instruments to encourage private sectors using nature-based solutions. Then we have provide practical tools and connecting SMEs, networks, intermediaries, and finance. Okay, here incentive subsidies for consumers to boost market demand for green roof ratios, green roofs, sorry. Awareness raising among the investors, impact investor, philanthropy networks, etc. Developing local stakeholders co-learning networks. Awareness to public and NBOs for more support. develop tools to evaluate benefits arising from nature-based solutions implementation and to inform future practice. Debate on impact criteria among economic policy makers. Economy impacts first or environmental impact first. Yeah. So when you have no more solution to add to this part of the exercise, I would invite you to draw some connections. So you have the possibility to add some arrows and to make the connection between problems and the solutions. Support for scaling, especially internationally. Yeah. Once more, if you want to add some few words on the post-its that you have developed or written, please do not hesitate. I think there is still some reluctancy to add some lines or connections between the problems and the solutions.
Could you give us an example of how to do it? I'm not sure.
Up, yeah, I just give an example. Up like that. I will use it on the example, actually, on the template. You can see here now, normally on your screen, you can see that I draw an arrow up, sorry. Afterwards, you can change the size of the arrow the way you want, and the form and the color. Try to add the arrow at the end of the line, because otherwise it can be tricky to see between two. For example, there is one line which is not very clearly related. I think it is related to the two green post-its, but I'm not sure 100%. It could be also related to the blue one. I would ask for one line, what is the meaning of this line, which is going from lack of knowledge, recognition, and or support from the society, availability of technical equipment and primary products, and business incubator programs. If someone can explain me that, it would be interesting. Yes, because I think that the line that I see is really trying to make a connection. I'm not sure 100%. Maybe it's just, maybe the connection is just between lack of knowledge, recognition, and incubator, business incubator programs. But I think that there was another meaning behind it. It would be interesting for the person who drew this this line. To speak loud. Yeah, okay. I see that some lines are being redrawn in order to make it more clear. So thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, yeah, okay. So perfect. Then for the ones who have already added their points or their ideas and the lines that they wanted to add, the next part of the work, or the next part of the workshop, is related to now each participant can indicate with a dot 3 activities he or she considers the most relevant. Here you see the different colors in the section 5, which is on the right side in the middle. I would ask you, if possible, to select the same color as the one that you used in order to describe who you are, which was in the second in the first exercise, or the first part of the workshop, because it would help us to make the association easy, more easy. Yeah, and these dots are related to the solutions, not to the problems. You can recreate some dots if you if you lost one by making a copy paste. Control C, Control V. So I see here some dots for developing local stakeholders co-learning networks. I see also some dots for develop tools to evaluate benefits arising from nature-based solutions implementation and to inform future practice. I see also some dots, one dot which is not so clear for me if it is on the awareness raising or if it is on the awareness to the public, but I think it's okay because I think that the general meaning of this dot is related to awareness raising. Then we have one related to developing standards and impact measurement approaches. Then we've got one with training programs for, no, two, I think, training programs for organizations implementing nature-based solution.
Some of these are related, Matthew, like evidence for valuing benefits is similar to impact measurement. So you're measuring the impact, which is the benefits, and putting evaluation on it.
You're completely right. We won't be able to give a clear feedback now, and we will need, of course, to look at what has been written, and then afterwards, we will come back with the conclusion of this workshop. So there are too many information to be considered. I see several dots, on these training programs for organization. I will increase the size, because otherwise we can't see. Programs for organization implementing nature-based solutions, which is also related to the dots which have been brought by developing local stakeholders, co-learning networks, learning from best practices also. Try not to move the post-its now, because if you move the post-its and there are some dots on it, on this post-it, it will be completely impossible to read afterwards. And try to check that your post-it is clearly on the right place. I see one, exactly. You have the possibility also to put the post-it in front or behind. That's the possibility you have. I would prefer to have the post-its in front. It would be clearer.
Hey, this is Jana again. Sorry, I'm capitalizing this discussion, but I just thought I'd share something that might be interesting.
Yeah, please.
Drawing lines. So I see there's a lot of support for developing tools to evaluate benefits arising from nature-based solution implementation and to inform future practice. This, of course, as Sheban already pointed out, connected to measuring impact and dependencies, right? And like your positive impact and why would you invest in nature-based solutions? So I think one of the challenges, especially related to SMEs, and I just want to have your views on this as well, is that measuring takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of resources, and it can be quite complicated, like how to set a baseline, how to define material issues in which nature-based solutions to invest in. And also like afterwards monitoring and evaluation, like what is the exact impact you're having. So like you need to collect data over a long period of time, probably to actually see like how big your impact is, especially related to the impact of nature-based solutions on nature and climate. But I still believe that it's important to measure and to evaluate also for your internal and external communication. But I was just wondering if you have experienced the same issue, if you've thought about any solutions, because it's worth flagging maybe that with the platform, we are currently developing a guide for SMEs on biodiversity, and it's really like an action-oriented tool, and it's focusing on, it's based on everything that's like all the important documents that are out there, including the Natural Capital Protocol, but then using proxies rather than exactly measuring your footprint. So these are just some ideas that I wanted to toss into the virtual room, that working with like general approaches and proxies to measure, and using different tools, that it should be action oriented and like tailored to the needs of SMEs without making it like overly complex. And that especially in the beginning, I think it's important that they take the first steps, and then like once you've got them going and they feel like, okay, this is going the right direction, and I've gained some knowledge and both understanding and I gained some benefits, they can maybe shift towards like more systematic measuring. And yeah, just a few thoughts.
Thank you very much, Jen. Mario, I will just use this opportunity also to explain that here what we are doing is the first step, or the first workshop, or the first exchange that we have related to this network. It is clear that after this first exchange, we will come back to you with the different conclusions, the different elements that we collected from this workshop, and then we will fix another date for looking at the structure of the network, and who wants to do what, and also to define also the different events or the different meetings that we will have. And potentially one of the point that your interventions is bringing into my mind is the possibility to have some dedicated meetings related to one subject or another, in order to have the possibility to have some interventions from externals. Now I pass the floor to Mario, because there is also a reaction from Mario, and then afterwards I give you the floor, Shoban. Mario?
Okay, hi everyone. Hi Mattia. Yes, I wrote that posted there. I think that I agree with what Yana said. This is a reaction to what Yana said, basically. I think that measuring everything very precisely may take a lot of effort and resources, and often there's not the opportunity to do that for SMEs, for implementers anyway, not just SMEs. But it's good to have an understanding of the impact, and often there's a lot of interest in implementing, but what I see is that then we're not measuring. So unless we measure something, then it's very difficult to report on the eventual impact of your actions, even in terms of cost effectiveness, even in terms of CSR impact and so on. So that's I think one opportunity there to sort of develop that further. And I think there's a lot of gaps in academia and also in the science of doing this. There's technology. I think Shaban mentioned this earlier on. Technology offers many opportunities, and often in the front of biodiversity, we're looking at a lot of aesthetic value, for example. We're looking at health aspects, but we're not often not measuring or not using even proxies to measure the impact on biodiversity. So I see a lot of opportunities there, and also the co-learning aspect of it. It's not just the implementation and the impact, but it's also the learning to do something and measuring it together, for communities and for the wider network of stakeholders. I think this is something which it presents an opportunity for the network, basically.
Thank you very much, Mario. I think now that we have the intervention of Shoban.
No, I agree completely with Mario, and I think we need to be aware of the importance of measuring impact, because what we're seeing at the moment is a backlash against NBS and the reputation of NBS being called into question. And it's been taken off, as I'm sure you're aware, and earlier, I'm not sure what the current status is, but last month it was taken off the COP CBD 15 NBS as a solution because of the lack of measurement of impact and concerns that there was negative effects on biodiversity. So what you're seeing is a lot of businesses going out and investing through platforms in monoculture tree planting schemes, which can have negative effects on biodiversity. So as Mario says, and I think we're on the same page here. I know you're not saying don't measure it, but simplify it. But the first steps is raising awareness of kind of what the kind of key issues are, and then the things to watch out for. Again, I keep coming back to standards, really important. I know, and I was just going to raise awareness, there is work going in this area because it's hugely expensive and time consuming. And I'm sure you're aware of the new guidebook for practitioners, 1,000-page guidebook, you know, for practitioners on all sorts of indicators. But there's also, I don't know if you're involved in the sub-task force on measuring biodiversity. And I know that there's two spin-offs coming out of Connecting Nature, one looking at a technology platform to make it easier to kind of see which indicators are most relevant to you. And the second one is specifically looking at biodiversity indicators. So if we maybe connect afterwards, I'll put you in touch with those people and see, because they're definitely working on that. Technology, I think, is definitely the way forward. One of the things they're doing is developing these kind of top level, you know, geospatial maps to say, if you invest in this particular area, this is how it will impact on all of these other things. So technology, I think, when you're talking about making it easy and cost effective, is definitely the way to go. And we have a whole cluster on smart technology applications for measuring biodiversity impacts. So all areas, you know, that are developing but hold much potential.
Very much, Siobhan. Okay, I will propose to move on to the next activity, which is related, which is on the left back corner. So the 6, I go on it, and here I would like you, but I think you won't move the post-it, because otherwise it would make it very complicated. It would be to write on the post-it the post-it, if you can make that the post-it has the same color as the one that you used for describing your organization and your position and the interest of the organization, to write on this post-it which are the activities that you would be interested in, and to describe your support related to these solutions or these activities. So please do not hesitate. The post-its are on the corner on the right, on the down. Yeah, exactly. So I will. So here we have the intervention of OPLA can help provide the support for the network. Yeah, that's already planned. We will have a power. We will have the network which will be supported by OPLA inside the NetworkNature platform. There will be a space for the network. I can't read, so I will make it bigger. Social climate, transfer the experience with a private business, nature-based solution cluster, and nature-based enterprises incubation program. Then we have NBE accelerator on financing access from LGI. I will make bigger. Enterprise Ireland interested in training programs, awareness raising, best practice case studies. Oh, there are some small post-its that I will make bigger. I think they are all from you, Jane, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Perfect. And then I can read them. Supporting the coordination with other SME nature networks, e.g. SME United, Capital Coalition, etc. We are hosting an EU on national B&B platforms and network meeting on November 9. You are invited to join. Thank you very much. We are planning to develop a database of case studies. Could look into synergies to look for any include case studies on nature-based solution. Thank you. Yes, from time to time the post-its are very small. Then we have EcoStack Innovation, interested in working with other SMEs, test-bed implementation, monitoring, and the development of new tools as part of a NBE co-creation and training activity with our stakeholder network. Trinity College, nature-based enterprises research, working with cities and developing accelerators. It's not finished, but I'm developing nature-based enterprises accelerators. There are some few other organizations that are not yet present. So please don't be shy. It's your turn to write down a few elements. Just write down what you would like to engage yourself in, taking into consideration the solutions that we mentioned just before. For example, GIZ or GIZ, you have still the possibility to add a post-it, I think.
We're keeping back a little because we come from a very different area of development cooperation. So we're kind of holding back, but we're listening in very interestedly.
Okay, fine.
And we'll stay in touch if, I mean, of course, what we are probably looking for in the future are nature-based enterprises that are willing to twin with nature-based enterprises in partner countries of German Development Corporation and assist with capacity development. So I think we'll observe for a while and then get in touch.
Okay.
Andrea, I think that's very much, if I could say, one of the purposes of the platform that I presented earlier is to build this kind of, and it's global, it's not just Europe now, it's predominantly Europe, but we have a lot of participants from Brazil in particular. And it's really sharing experiences and building knowledge internationally. So I think that could be quite relevant to what you're talking about.
Yeah, so maybe I can add a card on that. And we also work quite a lot in the Western Balkans.
Oh, yeah.
Which of course are via the Green Deal and the Green Agenda for the Western Balkans are very relevant. So
which countries in particular?
Well, actually all 6 Western Balkans countries. We have quite a large portfolio there supporting EU integration in many areas.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, so I think that now it's a little bit more quiet. Maybe Jiri, you are looking for adding your post-it. You still have a little bit of time, don't worry. We have still 20 minutes to go, and but I think it is time maybe to make the wrap up, or I will wait a little bit more. It is really the opportunity for the one that wanted to express something to do it now, since we have a bit of time now until the last write down their post-it. So if you have something to add or to mention before we come to the wrap-up, or in relationship with the wrap-up, it's possible. So we have a new post-it, twinning between EU-based nature-based enterprises and networks and developing country NBE networks for capacity development. Yep. Actually, it is one of the goals of this network we are working on. This network of national representative for nature-based solution for SMEs interested in nature-based solutions. Okay, so I think time to wrap up. Of course, let us be honest. I won't be able to wrap up everything what we have just discussed. I won't be able to mention everything. But as I told you, we are working already on the minutes. We will bring these minutes very soon and send it to you. Here on the minutes, we will have a focus on problems and solutions, and mainly solutions, which are these different activities we want to tackle with this network that we are working on. The minutes will also inform you about the next meeting, where we will have the possibility to go further in the development of the structure of the network in order to define maybe some work streams, maybe some themes, semester themes, or meeting themes, in order to deepen in one topic or another. What I want to say is that everything what we did today will be collected, will be really studied, and after that we will give a few indications on where the network could go, and we will add to this information an invitation to write down when you are available. We will send you a doodle. I would also ask you to answer this doodle quite rapidly, because it enables us to fix very rapidly the dates and the slot, the time slot related to this meeting. I want also to thank you very much, Siobhan, for the presentation or the introduction, inspiring introduction she did. Here, as you understood, the network has the idea or the goal to be in contact with other networks, other initiatives, and benefit from all these different networks and initiatives in order to go forward and tackle some clear activities that we can address or we can answer within this network. The goal is finally to give the tools, to give the materials necessary or that each national representative can use in order to support the companies or the SMEs which are interested in nature-based solutions in their country. So it's a long journey. We are at the very beginning of it. It will necessitate or it will require from us some more exchanges, some more work to do, and some more availabilities. But I think taking into consideration your different interventions, the different activities, your different answers to the different activities, there is a clear desire from your side, and there is an interest expected, even if it is clear that we are not here to make all the SMEs get interested in nature-based solutions, but we are here at least to answer the one that are raising some interest or which are already looking at it and which would need some more support in order to go further. And I think that's it's little by little, and that this network can first of all answer these the needs that the SMEs are expressing, and then little by little we will look when we can answer all the ones that are interested in nature-based solution. Then we can look at how to get some more to get them interested in nature-based solutions. But I think we need to go step by step, little by little, and define clear targets, clear resources, and clear deadlines in order to get to the goal, to the target. But this won't be the matter of one day. It's a long journey that I invite you to do with us. Thank you very much. Thank you to you all. We will get to the next point of the agenda for this for the NetworkNature Annual Event. If I don't make any mistake, I think it's the next one is at 4:30. Roger, can you confirm that?
Yeah, I think so. Double check.
In the meantime, we will have the possibility to make a short presentation of what we have done here during this parallel session, which will have the opportunity to present in the plenary. And as I told you, we keep in touch. We'll send you the information about what we discussed during this parallel session, and inform you about the next time slots we thought for our next exchange for the network. Thank you very much, and see you in the plenary. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Matthew. Bye-bye.
So much. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Great afternoon.
Bye.
Hi, Roger. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Just a short question. I was trying to download or to export the mural, but I wasn't able to do it. Can you?
I will do it. Good that you raise this point. Yeah, I will download it.
Perfect. All right.
Also, yeah, I can download the whole mural and also each of the frames. You know,
Great.
maybe that's better so you can see it more clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will do it now.
Okay, amazing. That's great. And Mathieu, how much time do we have to prepare these key points?
25 minutes.
Yeah, it's at 4:15.
it's 4:15 and not 4:30.
Yes,
but it's okay. It
All
happens.
Right. So we can use, I mean, if you have already a couple of ideas, great. Otherwise, we will need to use the mural, I think, because the concrete.
No, we can't use the mural. I think the first point that we need to mention for these notes or for this feedback would be one to say that we had a very interesting introduction about nature-based economy and its relationship with SMEs and interested in nature-based solutions. Afterwards, we can say that we went through the different problems and solutions, found the problems and their solutions regarding the expectation of SMEs interested in nature-based solution. And there, I will maybe try to find a few elements to say supplementarily, but I think I won't have so much time. And then afterwards, we can mention our activity of gathering the interest of the participants in tackling these activities within the network.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Relationship with the network.
Then we leave it there very
broad and yeah, there is only 3 points. You have one slide with 3 points, and I will have 1 minute to say that, I think, or 2.
All right.
Maybe Roger knows a little bit more, but I suppose it will be very short.
Yeah, because there are also another